Good evening, Mayor Allen. It is 6:30. As soon as you have quorum on camera, we can start. There we go.
1, 2, 3, 4. Good evening, Council. Good evening, Deputy Clerk. Good evening, staff. Can I have a mover and seconder to call a meeting to order, please? Councillor Cabral. Councillor Moore, that the regular meeting of the Council of the Township of Springwater of October 20, 2021 come to order at 6:30 p.m. All those in favor? Thank you. Tonight, Deputy Mayor Colgan sends her regrets, so we're down one for tonight. Due to COVID-19, Council is taking the necessary steps to limit in-person meetings. So we are conducting this meeting via Zoom electronically with the Council and staff participating. The meeting is being live streamed, and you can watch the meeting live on the Township's website, www.springwater.ca. You can listen by phone during the meeting by calling 647-558-0588 and using the ID 867-7194-6598. This is available during the meeting, and if you want to look at the meeting, you can watch the live stream after. You can review it at your convenience by watching the video on the YouTube's YouTube channel, Township's YouTube channel. Council, are there any disclosures of pecuniary interest this evening? Seeing none, we'll move on to 3.1 in the agenda, which is a presentation deputation by Mr. Tyler Cowell, Planner of Innovative Planning, with respect to the proposed apartment building at 25 Yonge Street North in Elmvale. I'll call upon Mr. Cowell, please. Cowell, sorry.
Great, thank you. You got last name right.
Good.
So I'll just share my presentation, if I can share my screen. So everybody see that?
Yes, we can. Thank you.
Great. Good evening, Your Worship and members of Council. Thank you for providing us this opportunity to speak with you today. My name, of course, is Tyler Cowell. I'm a planner with Innovative Planning Solutions, representing our clients and their conceptual development for 25 Yonge Street North in Elmvale. I have a brief presentation, of course, which provides an overview of the concept plan, some background on prior planning approvals and next steps. The intent of this deputation is to obtain feedback, if any, from Council on the concept plan, with the intention of proceeding in the future with Planning Act applications. So sorry, I'm just going to change view, full screen. Great, so next slide. The subject lands are outlined in red in this image shown here. The lands possess about 19.6 meters of frontage on Yonge Street with a lot area of approximately 0.12 hectares, or about 0.3 acres in size. Surrounding uses include a 3-story apartment building to the south. You can see my cursor right there. 3-story apartment building to the east, as well as Yonge Street to the west, and single detached residential to the north being in this location. The community of Elmvale, of course, features a diverse mix of housing from single detached to multi-unit dwellings, area parks, and schools. Everyday commercial amenities are also within walking distance, primarily along Yonge Street and Queen Street. The community is also serviced by transit, with the Simcoe County Links Transit providing north and southbound stops within Elmvale, connecting residents to destinations throughout the county. And the area is also serviced with municipal water and sewage. It's understood, though, that capacity for allocation will need to be confirmed through any future Planning Act submission. The property is located within the Elmvale settlement area, and it has designated settlements in the county official plan. Importantly, the lands are also within the delineated built boundary of the settlement area, and that's shown by the pinkish line. Just to note, the County of Springwater does have an intensification target in their official plan of 15%, meaning that 15% of all new residential units must be developed within the delineated built boundary of settlement areas, including Elmvale. Currently, the subject lands are designated entirely general commercial in the township's official plan, located at the edge of a commercial area identified within Schedule A6 of the official plan. So just for some context, the commercial overlay designation in the official plan is shown by this, it looks to be like a reddish, almost brickish pattern. And you can see again, the subject lands are at the very edge of that, but still designated in the OP as commercial, and they're highlighted in red. Here you can see the zoning schedule for Elmvale, with the subject property again outlined in red and zoned CG or general commercial. We note the diversity in uses and respective zones in the area with a variety of commercial uses, yet all neighboring parcels to 25 Young are zoned residential. And most notably the R3 zoning to the south and west. And again, that relates to an existing apartment complex. Just for some background, in March of 2020, a boundary adjustment was approved by Committee of Adjustment between this property and the multi-unit residential property directly to the south, being 21 Yonge Street. In July of 2020, Town Council did approve a rezoning of the merged lands with the 21 Yonge Street parcel. So the rezoning of the lands that were merged from 25 Yonge to 25 Yonge to 21 Yonge were approved, meaning the lands, basically it was an encroaching parking area. Once the boundary adjustment was approved in March of 2020, July of 2020, we came back to get them in the appropriate zone, which was a condition following the boundary adjustment. This successfully resulted in a vacant parcel clear of encumbrances, that being what used to be parking that was encroaching, resulting in this now vacant, free and clear 25 Yonge parcel that is still zoned and designated for commercial use. In March of this year, we had pre-consultation discussions with the township staff for potential official plan and zoning bylaw amendments for this land. Through these processes, it was suggested that a preliminary development application be considered to present to council prior to formal application submission, and that's of course why we're here today. The applicant intends to redesignate the lands from general commercial to urban residential and rezone them from general commercial or CG again to residential or the R3 zone with special provisions. The anticipated applications would support the conceptual site plan as shown here. The concept includes a 3-story, 9-unit walk-up apartment building, with the residential units limited to the 2nd and 3rd floors, offering a range of sizes. A total of 14 parking spaces are provided on this conceptual plan, including 1 barrier-free space. A portion of the parking is uncovered, with the balance located under the building. The concept locates the building close to the street in keeping with good planning and urban design principles. The lobby is located at the front of the building with direct pedestrian access to and from the street. And the building and parking area have been designed to keep a maximum distance from the single detached home which exists abutting the property to the north side. I should note that we have also consulted with county staff who are not concerned with the conversion of these lands from employment, as they are not located within an employment area as defined by the province. We anticipate that special provisions to the zoning will be required to support the development concept, which may change as the plan evolves, of course. These provisions will allow for a compact, efficient built form and urban design elements which conform to the objectives of the local and provincial planning policy. Regarding servicing, the intent is to develop this lot with full municipal services. Preliminary servicing review is being led by Capes Engineering as we speak, and a number of options are being reviewed currently. We're exploring a potential connection to existing sewer infrastructure within a rear yard easement north of the site, with field work underway, including a topographic survey of that sewer easement. It's anticipated that the water main will connect to the existing infrastructure on the west side of Yonge Street, and stormwater management will be likely to include a combination of surface and subsurface storage. Once the ultimate servicing methods have been confirmed, a detailed functional servicing plan will be finalized with associated report and drawings to be submitted, accompanying any future planning act submission should we proceed. In summary, the applicant proposes to create a 3-story 9-unit walk-up apartment building on the 25 Young Street property. We believe at this stage the concept conforms to the policies and objectives within the applicable planning documents, understanding that applications for official plan amendment and zoning bylaw amendment are required to facilitate the concept. Preliminary servicing review and fieldwork is underway, and we intend to continue working with township engineering staff and their consultants. At this stage, we appreciate feedback from council on the conceptual development as we work towards formal application submission. So this concludes my presentation. I'd be happy to take any questions or comments you might have at this time from council to us as the agents and applicants.
Thank you, Mr. Caldwell. Can I move and seconder to get this on the floor, please? Councillor Cabral, Councillor Ma Chapman. Okay, questions, discussion? Councillor Cabral.
There we go. Thank you, Mayor Allen. Through you, just with respect to that location there, I just, with the number of units and the potential number of people and the parking spaces that are involved, it's right adjacent to a T intersection at George Street there. And there is a new PXO crossing going in there as well. And we have the condominiums and the schoolhouse apartment building immediately adjacent to it. So I'm just wondering if any thought has been given to traffic flow coming in and out of those locations, if there's going to be any perceived conflicts.
Mr. Caldwell, can you pull back up the schematic of the development, please?
Yep.
Okay.
So through your worship, yeah, to answer the question, yes, we have given that some serious consideration, and keep in mind this is a very conceptual plan and we're at very early stages, and no formal planning act submissions whatsoever have been submitted. So at this early stage, we have given that thought, and recognizing that should we proceed with working towards a formal submission, we need to retain a team to cover many aspects, including likely a traffic analysis, and that would also cover these items. It would look at traffic flow, anticipated any new traffic generated on the street which doesn't currently exist and would be a result of the development. It would look at traffic flow in terms of where the vehicles would be spilling out onto and what is the best point of access. So that will definitely get taken into account as we work further towards any submission. I don't know if that answers your question.
Yep, thank you.
On this diagram, Mr. Caldwell, what's the significance of the gray versus the tan coloring?
So yes, so just to clarify, yes, my apologies. The tan color is a building itself. So again, very conceptual. It's just really showing the exterior walls, and it's a conceptual sketch. The green is really landscaped area, so grassy area. So the building footprint is the tan. Any pedestrian or sidewalk linkage is pretty much the gray tone. So you can see, just if you can see my cursor, the lobby is located here. You'd have a pedestrian connection sidewalk linking from the municipal sidewalk on the right of way directly to the lobby, and you'd also have potentially another pedestrian connection underneath the building, noting again that the units would be likely located on the second and third floors of the building, and parking and lobby and drive aisle would be located on the main floor.
So some of the parking would be underneath, as shown in the tan color, but the gray colored parking spaces would be in the open. Is that correct?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay. Councillor Ritchie?
Yes, thank you, Mayor Allen. In regards to the building and the units, can you elaborate? Are they single bedroom apartments? Are they 2-bedroom apartments? Is a combination of both? Could you just explain a little further on that?
Definitely. With respect to the bedroom counts, that hasn't been determined or finalized yet because of how early we are in the process. And of course, the concept could change based on further analysis and comments received today as we work through the process. But as of now, the client is open, I believe, to a mix of unit sizes and not necessarily all 1 bedroom. So it's very likely. I mean, there could be 1, 2, or 3 bedroom.
Follow on?
I just want to comment. I think this is much needed, and I welcome this development. Much needed. They will not have a problem with rents. Again, much needed in the town. So I support this fully. Thank you.
And these, Mr. Caldwell, would be rental units or purchased units?
That also has not been established at this time because of how early we are in the process. I don't want to.
Sorry to
interrupt. Sorry.
Karn from Evastruct. This is Karn from Evastruct. Our main objective is to make them rental units at this time. So it's not going to be like purchasable units.
Okay. Any other questions, council? Okay, if you could take down the presentation then, Mr. Caldwell, please. And thank you for the presentation. And we have a mover and seconder that the delegation from Tyler Caldwell of Innovative Planning be received. All those in favor? That is carried. Thank you. Next, we're moving on to question period. And the details of submitting questions are outlined on the agenda. Basically, you can submit questions in writing, or you can submit a request to be able to pose a question with respect to an item that's on the agenda, and submit this to the clerk's office by 12 p.m. on the day of the meeting. Deputy Clerk Marshall, were there any questions posed for this meeting?
Thank you, Mayor Allen. There have been no question period submissions for tonight's meeting.
Thank you. Then we'll move on to 5.1, minutes of council. Can I have a mover and seconder to get these on the floor, please? Councillor Cabral, Councillor Moore. There are 5 minutes presented there. Any comments or questions with respect to those? Then the resolution is that the minutes of the council listed herein be approved as presented. September 27, 2021 special meeting, September 27, 2021 closed meeting of council, September 27, 2021, the minutes of the special meeting of council, and the minutes of the special meeting of council, October 6, 2021, and the regular meeting of council, October 6, 2021. All those in favor? That is carried. Moving on to 5.3, minutes of boards and committees and organizations. Mover and seconder, please. Councillor Cabral. Let's go, Council. Seconder, please. Councillor Moore. Any questions, comments of the two here? Seeing none, the resolution is that the minutes of boards, committees, and other organizations listed herein be received as information. Minutes of Recreation Advisory Committee meeting of May 25, 2021, and the Heritage Advisory Committee minutes for the meeting of June 22nd, 2021. All those in favor? That is carried. There are no correspondence and information items, so we move on to the option report. 7.2 is the Swaley Drain Court of Revision. Can I have a mover and seconder to get this on the floor, please? Councillor Cabral, Councillor Maude Chapman. Okay, I'll open this up for discussion. There was a report, and there are spots that require council members to be interested in being involved with this Court of Revision for the Swaley Drain for a scheduled meeting on November 1st, 2021 at 6:30 p.m. The report explains what it's about, and discussion, comments, council? Councillor Cabral?
There we go. Thank you, Mayor Allen. I guess a couple of questions. I get the impression that this is not an ongoing committee, or is this an ongoing committee? That would be my first question. The second one, I have to say that this is not my area of expertise. So I'm not going to necessarily put my name forward. However, should there not be sufficient members of council volunteering, I will let my name stand. So
Okay,
Question
thank
and
you. I believe it's a one-time thing, but I will turn to C. Buchanan, the drainage superintendent, please, to just confirm that.
Thank you, Mayor Allen, through to Councillor Cabell. It is proposed to be a one-time thing, depending on the outcome of the challenges of the assessments. If a landowner is to receive new assessments, depending on the Court of Revision, we would have to schedule another date to inform that landowner of that. But if everything should be taken care of under one session.
And Mr. Buchanan, have there been any comments with respect to the allocation thus far?
There has been 2 submissions to challenge the assessments on their properties.
And am I right in saying that if there's an adjustment as a result of those challenges, then that affects all the others? It's like a bucket of water. If it stays at the same level, so if one or more go down, the others go up. Is that correct?
Correct. If somebody's assessment is reduced due to the outcome of the Court of Revision, the amount reduced must be applied somewhere else to the properties assessed within the drain. It all has to balance out.
Now, I believe that Deputy Mayor Coughlin expressed an interest to be on. Is that right, Deputy Clerk?
Yes, that is correct.
Okay, Councillor Ma Chapman.
Thank you, Mayor Allen. I also not expertise in the swirly drain, but it's a good learning curve, and this is in my ward, so I have no problem sitting on that with anyone else.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Ritchie, you have always had a passionate interest in the Swaley drain. Would you be interested in sitting on this?
No, I'll pass.
Okay. All right, anybody else? All right, I will sit on this as well then, if there are no others, to make the 3 people. So the motion is that the report from the drainage superintendent regarding Swaley Drain Court Revision dated October 20, 2021 be received, and that council for the Township of Springwater hereby appoint the following members of council to the Court of Revision for the Swaley Drain, that being Mayor Allen, Deputy Mayor Coughlin, and Councillor Ma Chapman. And further, the Court of Revision for Swaley Drain has been scheduled for November 1, 2021 at 6:30 p.m. All those in favor? That is carried. Moving on to 7.2, the Community Improvement Plan Application Historic Property Improvement Grant for Waddy House at 1680 Highway 26. Can I have a mover and seconder to get this on the floor, please? Councillor Cabral, Councillor Ma Chapman. Their option A and B, mover and seconder. What option would you be putting forward? Councillor Cabral?
Mayor Allen, I actually am, after reading it over and thinking it over, I'm actually proposing option B. Or no, sorry, yes, option B.
Okay, that'll open up for discussion. The seconder was Councillor Ma Chapman, I believe. Go ahead, Councillor Ma Chapman.
Thank you, Mayor Allen. I was on going with option A because it is a heritage building, and it does look like it needs to be repaired, just that front step. So my support option A.
Okay, so let's just open up for discussion, and then we'll narrow down on options. So Councillor Hannah has his card. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mayor. Just a couple of questions I have, but a point I'd like to make as well. And I'm sure I don't have a problem being corrected, but I believe when the community improvement plan came forward, originally it was just for businesses to upgrade their business and facades and signs and so on, and then it got expanded to include private residents. I believe that's how it came about. But the question I have is too, for some reason I believe this Waddy address is Heritage Building. This is not the first time that this property has come forward looking for funding, excuse me, for the from the community improvement program. And so that's my question. If somebody could clarify that, I'd appreciate it.
Okay, who can tackle that for me, please? Director Spagnol.
Thank you, Mayor Allen. Just to clarify through you to Councillor Hannah, the community improvement plan provides for opportunities for incentives for various reasons. They're listed in the report. One of the reasons is historic property improvement programs, and that's where this one would fall under, in that because of the historic value reference for the Waddy House, the property would actually qualify for funding or some sort of an incentive through the community improvement plan. As far as previous applications with respect to funding, I'm unaware of any at this point. I could follow up and provide that information to council if that's council's wish.
Okay, follow on, Councillor Hannah.
Thank you, Mayor, and appreciate that from Director Spagnol. That was my recollection that I remember, maybe you do as well, Mayor, this property coming forward before, but maybe it was for something else. But also, if you read it carefully, which I'm sure everybody has, I don't mean to suggest anybody hasn't, it appears that this is not just to improve or maintain the character of the building, but it is to help reduce the possibility of water damage leaking in. So I'm sort of leaning towards B as well. I'm not sure this actually qualifies to what I would consider maintaining the character of the building.
Councillor Cabral.
Thank you, Mayor Allen. I have to admit, when I first looked at it, it seemed, fairly straightforward given what the report says. But I had to step back and look at it a second time. And the way I'm looking at it now is our heritage properties do get a break along the ways. And I kind of look at it and I'm thinking to myself, if it needed reshingling, would we be in a position to approve funding for reshingling because it's going to stop water from infiltrating the house and causing damage? I'm kind of looking at this and I'm thinking that this is just regular household maintenance and repair. And I don't see it as an enhancement. And I don't see it as really, I think it's a repair that someone wants to make to a property that has heritage designation. But I can't wrap my head around why it would qualify under this, because the way I see it, it's regular home maintenance. So that's why I'm kind of leaning towards option B. And that's the reason why. If it was to do something that actually enhanced or recreated or did something to the house itself that provided that type of enhancement. But I just see this as there's an issue with the porch. There's water coming in. If it was my house, I'd be bound to repair it on my own. As a matter of fact, insurance companies, if you don't keep your house keep done and properly maintained, when something does happen or there's a problem, there's a good chance that they might not want to honor the liability aspect of it. So that's the reason why I'm I am with Part B, is because I see it just as a regular repair, household maintenance, not something that falls under this heritage definition to preserve the house itself.
Okay. So we need a seconder for Part B then, because Councillor Ma Chapman was favoring A, I believe. So Councillor Hannah, we have a mover and seconder. Any further discussion with this then? So the mover and seconder is for Part B for the reasons that we've discussed. No further comment? Okay, so we're voting on this for Part B, being the application be refused and the applicant be so notified. All those in favor? Opposed? That is carried for Part B. Action reports 8.1. Mover and seconder, get these on the floor, please. Councillor Cabral, Councillor Ma Chapman. We have 8.2, 8.3, 8.4. Questions, comments, or desire to pull any of these? Okay, the motion is that the action reports item 8.2 through 8.4 be received, and the recommendations can be approved as presented. I see Councillor Ritchie. Go ahead, please.
Mayor Allen, in regards to the 8.4 cost sharing agreement, water main relocation to Highway 26 and 27, I don't have a problem with that. But when I see this and I see all that construction going on down there, I was wondering if the director of manager of public works, are they putting in are they putting in sewer and water as they go along there?
Mr. Trevor Harvey, Development Engineer Coordinator, did the report. Who would like to comment on that question, please? The General Manager, Ramdale.
Yes, good evening. Through you, Mayor Allen, to Councillor Ritchie. Along 26, they are relocating a water main that is in the way of their infrastructure. That's the limit of their involvement. So it's not any new water main or any new sewer or anything like that. It's simply a relocation of our water main away from their future infrastructure.
Follow on, Councillor Ritchie.
Yes, but are they putting sewers in there while they've got it all opened up?
Through you, Mayor Allen, to Councillor Ritchie, the answer is no. They're not.
Go ahead, Councillor Ritchie.
It seems like, you know, that there's so much congestion there. Of course, there's a lot of traffic. Why they would not be putting sewers in the ground there? I mean, the sewage treatment plant is being built as we speak, moving along very well. So I question that. Why? Okay, they're relocating the water main that's there. Why are they not then putting sewers in as well too, and do it all at once? Or is that down the road? But why not? Why are they not doing this now?
General Manager.
Through you, Mayor Allen, back to Councillor Ritchie. The Ministry of Transportation typically only does work that facilitates their project. And that's how this particular one falls in that category. If we wanted that sewer in there, we would need to have worked with them a few years ago to coordinate that, have a design done for that work. And we're not there from a sewage linear infrastructure perspective for that future area along on that other side of 26. So that'll be about 4 years. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. So it's just the timing aspect, Councillor Ritchie, and the money aspect, basically. Province is doing the job that they need to do, and so if sewers were put in, it would be a municipal cost, and that's down the road. Okay, one final comment, Councillor Ritchie.
I just want to comment, at least now I know, or if anybody's been asking, because, you know, it begs the question, so.
Yeah, it's a good question. It's a logical question. Thank you for the question. Okay, any other comments then on 8.2, 3, or 4? Okay, the action reports 8.2 through 8.4 be received and the recommendations contained therein be approved as presented. 8.2 group benefits program renewal, 8.3 tile drain loan, 8.4 highway 2627 cost sharing agreement for the water main location with Ministry of Transportation. All those in favor? That is carried. Moving on to information reports. Can I have a mover and second to get this on the floor, please? Councillor Cabral, Councillor Ma Chapman. We have items 1 through 6. Any questions with respect to these? Items 1 through 6 are second quarter result. Councillor Cabral, go ahead.
Thank you, Mayor Allen. I guess I'm just a little bit confused. We had a presentation at the very beginning of this council meeting with respect to 25 Yonge Street North, and I got the impression nothing had gone forward. I'm just curious to know about this preliminary development application. that seems to be moving through the process, or is that just something to put the feelers out?
Okay, then we will go to Director Spagno for clarification on that,
Thank
please.
you.
Thank you, Mayor Allen, through to Councillor Cabral. Councillor Cabral, your last statement is exactly correct. It's a report just to put the feelers out, just to see what they're in for from an application perspective and to provide council with an outline of what they're proposing.
Follow on?
Yes, thank you, Mayor Allen. I'm just curious, is that what the preliminary, I know we have preliminary dialogue. Is this what we can expect to see when that happens going forward?
Director?
Thank you, Mayor Allen, through to Councillor Cabral. The applications that come forward may not necessarily be in the same form or shape as presented to council. There's a pre-consultation process that includes staff that would happen prior to any applications coming forward. And once those applications come forward, there will be an information report that outlines exactly what is being applied for. That goes into the official plan amendment, the zoning bylaw amendment, and the site plan. So there would be more information to come as part of a formal application.
Okay, so we have a mover and seconder for the following information items: the second quarter results, the bylaw services monthly activity report for September 2021, the report on 25 Yonge Street North, Anton Mills accessible walking trail construction, building services monthly activity report for July and August 2021. All those in favor? That is carried. Verbal reports. Director Spagno, official plan update.
Thank you, Mayor Allen. I'd just like to report, it's not really related directly to the official plan review process. Staff has sat in on technical sessions for the municipal comprehensive review for the county's process. Staff sat in on the agricultural component, the natural heritage system component, the climate change component, along with the watershed component, and we'll be drafting a report providing some staff comments for council to consider for a November 8th meeting, which is a special meeting of council. If council has had the opportunity to take a look at the website along with the reports, you would see that they are quite extensive and they are technical in nature. So staff will do their best to go and outline some of the comments and some of the considerations that'll need to go into the county's MCR process moving forward.
Thank you, Director. Yes, you're right. Those reports, I tuned into the sessions. The reports are beefy, very informational, and it would be good for us to get a chance to review those reports in advance of the November 8th meeting, because we have until November 11th, Director Spagno, to comment back to the county on the MCR.
That would be November 12th, Mayor Allen. Now, the one thing that I would like to point out is that the county is still receiving comment, and there's still a great deal of work that'll have to be done, after the comments are received. And to my mind, the key component of this will be the policy and the final recommendations that flow out of the MCR process, which I would think that we are, as a municipality, will be commenting on as well. So there's quite a bit of work still to do. But the date for comments is November 12th.
Okay. This isn't directly related to the official plan, but since we last met, there was a release on the next stage on the conservation authorities. And when are we going to be hearing back from you, I believe, Director Spagno, on that and discussing that further?
Thank you, Mayor Allen. I think just based on the magnitude of the regulations, it's probably going to be a cross-departmental report. So I will have to discuss that with CAO Schmidt as far as timing and when we're going to plan on getting that report back to council for consideration.
Is there a comment period for that one? I see CAO Schmidt has come on board. Go ahead, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just further to Director Spagno's comments, you may recall, or council may recall, that you authorized staff to engage the services of a legal firm, Williams & Shur, who were assisting us with the levy appeal with the NVCA previously, and we're working with them right now to review the MOU with the NVCA and the SSEA. And with these regulations that have just come out, we've asked them to also take that into consideration as part of their review of that agreement to understand what those implications could be. So we are working with them, and we're hoping to come back to council very shortly here to have them provide some further information to council as it relates to the MOU, but potentially as it may impact or what impacts could be in place due to those regulations.
Okay, thank you. Economic development update, Director Spagnell?
I have nothing new to
Before we
report.
leave, I see Councillor Ritchie had his card up, please.
Mayor Allen, please let the director speak and I'll speak after him.
Thank you. Go ahead, Director.
Thank you, Mayor Allen. I do not have anything new to report regarding economic development.
Thank you. Councillor Ritchie?
Mayor Allen, I just wanted to comment on this, a little bit of economic development. Back in the wintertime there, early spring, we as a council, we gave them the go ahead, the green light to get the train drain dug out. And since that time, the water's flowing. Farmers are now plowing in more tile into their fields. That helps increase yields, and it costs money to tile drain land. I think off the top of my head, you're $1,000 an acre. So that's economic development, and I can see when the Swaley drain finally gets dug out and everything gets rolling, there will be more farmers plow more tile in and spend more money, and that's economic development right here in our area. And nobody doesn't seem to see that, but it's a plus, and we did that as a council. And I just want to mention that.
Thank you for the comment. Okay, Midhurst development update, General Manager Ramdeo.
Good evening again, Mayor Allen and members of council. I begin this evening's update with the site works. As previously noted or reported, the developer did complete the subdivision roads, water main, and sewers, and its utility contractor is presently working on the gas, electric, and communication installations. Our development coordinator and development engineering consultants are overlooking the works to ensure that we do inherit quality infrastructure. The water treatment and the interim wastewater plants are approximately 14% complete, and the works are progressing well. We hope to have those operational by the end of the summer 2022. I now move to the external effluent pipe from the site to the outfall of the Willow Creek. The contractor is working with the NVCA and MTO to get the necessary permits to allow the works to commence. Everyone right now is working towards a November 1st works startup date. As part of the Midhurst works in itself, the developers to signalize the intersection of Wilson Drive and Snow Valley Road. To move that work forward, we need an agreement with the county and to hire a contractor. I'm happy to report that both the county agreement and the contractor are in place. We've ordered the materials, and we expect work to begin when the materials arrive, or in about 3 months' time. Moving on to the sales office, home sales commenced on October 2nd, and the developer reported that it was a complete sellout of the phase 1 homes that first weekend. So I think that's good news. That brings me to the end of the Midhurst update. Thank you.
Wow, I didn't realize that. Comments, council? Councillor Moore?
I just want to say thank you so much, General Manager Ramdeo, for working on that signalization for that intersection. I didn't realize that had been finalized, those permits. So congratulations, and I'm thrilled to hear that. Just there's a lot of concern in that general area, but that's going to help the traffic on Wilson Drive. So thanks so much for that.
Thank you. Okay, moving on to COVID update. CEO Schmidt, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I have no new updates to provide this evening, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, county updates, usually Deputy Mayor Coughlin does that. The only, sorry, I'm just plugging in my phone. Repeating that the waste management meeting is next Tuesday after county council to discuss waste management, primarily carts. We've all been hearing about carts, and so we will be discussing that. It will be live streamed for anybody wishing to hear that through live stream. So that's going to be happening next Tuesday. Councillor Hanna?
I got it. Thank you for bringing the topic forward. I just received an inquiry later today, and I didn't see it personally, but maybe somebody else on council or staff did. It's a message apparently that came from the county advising that the waste annual weekly waste management that they send out. I read to the fact that this week's recycling, which is the normally scheduled recycling for our area, would be with the new containers. And was my understanding the new containers didn't start in Springwater until November the 2nd. I'm just wondering, Mayor, if you have seen that.
Yeah, I think I did see that message, and I think what they're trying to communicate, Councillor Hanna, is that I believe this Friday's is garbage for our areas, or is it recycling?
No, it's recycling. We were garbage last week.
Okay, then I'm looking for the email, 1 second. Inbox. And I read it quickly and interpreted that basically they're saying that you can start to accumulate recycled material in your new bins because the next pickup of recycle will be after November 1 and we'll be accepting the new bins.
So you didn't find it confusing. Like I say, I didn't see it personally. It was read to me and it sounded like it was going to start this week with the recycling in the new bin. So I thank you for clearing it up anyway.
I'm still looking for it. Just a second here. Clerks.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
I believe that's the interpretation I received as well, similar to yourself. I'm on a Monday collection, and I received the email yesterday with the intent that it would be still starting the first week in November, but for us that are on the 2-week cycle, essentially we could start to accumulate now in time for starting November 1st. So maybe some of those individuals like yourselves, obviously collection hasn't happened yet this week for recycling. So maybe that email came out a little too early for some individuals, but for myself, I interpreted it as my recycling was picked up Monday. I got the email on Tuesday, and I can now, the next recycling would be the first week in November. So that's how I interpret it.
Councillor Gabriel.
Thank you, Mayor Allen. I just brought it up. It came a couple hours ago to me. It's referencing this Friday, which is my pickup for recycling. And it's basically telling me that if I've received my new recycling cart, I can start filling it now. I would expect that means I can put it out on Friday, but if they're bringing around the new truck, does that mean the fellow's still going to get out and empty out the old traditional blue bins along the way? So it is very confusing.
Okay, I will we'll follow up with county and I'll issue a clarification email to council as a result of that communication. So good point. Sounds confusing, but wouldn't be the first time. Okay, thank you. So that's county updates. Any municipal updates? We're at 10.6. Oh, good. Start with Councillor Hanna.
Thank you, Mayor. It's a little long, so I apologize. I just have to read what I received here. It's to do with the Midhurst annual Scarecrow contest. And just want to let people know that voting is still open until Saturday, October the 23rd at midnight. People can go to the Village of Midhurst.ca/vote to cast their vote for their favorite scarecrow. We are currently have 132 votes and are hoping to have a lot more by the deadline. The top 5 entries will win local gift certificates from Linda's Midhurst Pharmacy, Naked Cake Bakery, and Nickelodeon Farms. And anyway, it's an annual thing that the Midhurst Hall Board / Midhurst Recreational Committee puts forward. So I'm hoping to see a lot of scarecrows around. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Moore.
Thank you, Mayor Allen. I've been asked by the library to pass along 2 things. First, in recognition and celebration for the Dyslexia Awareness Month, the CEO of the Springwater Library will be leading a panel of tweens and teens who share their experiences with dyslexia. The panel ages vary from grade school through to college. There'll be a question and answer time as well. You can contact the Midhurst branch at 705-737-5650 to register on Thursday, or it will be held Thursday, October 21st at 7 p.m. And this event will be held via Zoom. And the second event is the Georgian Bay Reads. That is taking place this Saturday, October 23rd, 2021 from 7 p.m. till 9 p.m. For more information, please go to www.georgianbayreads.com.
Thank you. Councillor Cabral.
Thank you, Mayor Allen. I just wanted actually to acknowledge the Floss Agricultural Society. They put on the fall fair every year. As we know, last year, it didn't happen in the traditional sense. And once again, this year, it didn't happen in the traditional sense. They did have a couple of activities that, took COVID restrictions into mind. However, I did want to acknowledge them for actually putting on what I think most of the folks in Elmvale would consider to be a very, very good professional fireworks display. It was scheduled for the Saturday before Thanksgiving Sunday, but because of the rain, it was delayed. But they did put it on the Sunday, and you could see it miles around, even if you're outside of Elmvale. So anybody that was lucky enough to be right in town need only step outside their porch to watch it. But it was a really, really nice display, and I just wanted to acknowledge the Floss Agricultural Society and the Fall Fair for putting that on for the residents of Springwater, in particular those who are lucky enough to live in Elmvale.
Thank you. Okay, I'll just add one. The food bank open house was very successful, except it was in the pouring rain, but when the presentations were being made. But thank you, councillors, for attending. And it certainly was been a while since I'd received a check for $289,000. So it was hot in my pocket for Sunday until I took it in first thing Monday morning to CEO Schmidt. So it certainly is heartwarming to see the food bank and how stocked it is at this particular time, and the outpouring of donations and help has been tremendous, continues to be. Councillor Ritchie.
Yes, thank you, Mayor Allen. In regards to that big check that you received, now where does that money go? Does that go back into our hydro account that we took the money out of the upfront this?
Director Radigan, you could answer that, please.
Thank you. Through you, Mayor Allen, to Councillor Ritchie. It was recorded as a receivable as a result of the loan that was taken out of the actual reserve account that you spoke of. So it does just go back and actually repay the receivable. We were required to record it as a receivable at year end as a result of the auditors.
Follow on, Councillor Ritchie.
So just to be clear, so you're saying it went back into the hydro account where it came out of?
Director Radigan.
Thank you. Through you, Councillor Ritchie. It did. In a roundabout way, yes, it did.
Good, thank you.
Yes. Okay, moving on to notices of motion 11.1. We do have a notice of motion from Councillor Moore. So is there a seconder for this motion, please? Councillor Maud Chapman. I'll turn it over to you, Councillor Moore, to discuss.
Thank you, Mayor Allen. I think the motion itself is pretty self-explanatory. We're just in that cycle of council and to be prepared for the next council coming in, that for them to know that we've reviewed the compensation and all the components. I would like to add, though, that if a per diem could also be reviewed or added to the compensation review, or the comparison to other like size municipalities, I would appreciate that. That's it.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, so I think, so we could, as part of the compensation review, look at different forms, and included in that would be the potential for a per diem. Any discussion, Councillor Hannah?
Thank you, Mayor. I guess I just want to be clear on the timing when this gets negotiated and so on with the budget coming forward, keeping in mind that annually we always provide COLA for staff, and I realize there's a review taking place for staff as well. I should point out, for those who weren't around for the first 3 years that Perry Ritchie and I were on council, we voted down any increase at all. I think it was the last year that we agreed to take COLA just to kind of keep up with what was going on in other municipalities. But I just want to be cautious that the timing is correct, that we're not circumventing what we do with staff and accept something for council that we're not prepared to provide for staff as well.
Okay, thank you. Other comments? Councillor Cabral?
Thank you, Mayor Allen. I think it's something that would be appropriate, given that we're looking at staff compensation as well. I think it's also appropriate in the sense that there was some significant changes with the taxation impacts that were dealt with a few years ago too. And that was dealt, I think, 1 or 2 terms ago in preparation for the change. Since that change has taken place, a lot of municipalities have changed their structures as well. So I think putting it into 2022 is something that's a worthwhile exercise.
Okay. All right. So the motion is be resolved that a council compensation review be undertaken in 2022 to analyze annual remuneration for members of council, internet mileage, telephone allowances, etc., with any changes to be effective for the 2022 to 2026 term of council, and further that this project be completed in-house. All those in favor? That is carried. Thank you. Are there any other notices of motion? Moving on to 13 items for future consideration. Any items for future consideration? Moving on to 14.1, can I have a mover and seconder for the bylaws, please? Councillor Moore, Councillor Cabral, that the bylaw listed herein be signed and sealed by the mayor and clerk, 2021-97 cost sharing agreement with MTO for water main relocation, 2021-98 procurement bylaw, 2021-99 tile drain loan to 2082 George Johnson Road, 5000-343 re ZP 2020-012 Springwater Development Corp. All those in favor? That is carried. Mover and seconder for the confirmatory bylaw, please. Councillor Ritchie, Councillor Moore, that the bylaw 2021-100 to confirm and adopt the proceedings of council at the regular meeting held on October 20, 2021, listed herein be signed and sealed by the mayor and clerk. All those in favor? Thank you. And a mover and seconder to adjourn the meeting, please. Councillor Maude Chapman and Councillor Cabral, that the regular meeting of the Township of Springwater does now adjourn at 7:29 p.m. to meet again in a regular meeting on November 3rd, 2021 at 6:30 p.m. All those in favor? Carried. Just under an hour. Thank you, council. Have a good evening.
Thank
Good
you.
job.
Good night. Yeah, sure.
Night.
Don't know what I'm gonna